Hi guys, Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. Today I'm going to make a soap cutting form. I want to be able to cut my soap in perfect 1-inch chunks so that I can start to sell this soap. To date I made soap for many years, but for my own personal use and for family and friends. Given away a lot of soap in the years, but now I want to make a nice, neat, and accurate soap cutting form. So I'm going to go ahead and what I'm going to have is a base that's as wide as the largest mold that I may need, and I have various size molds that I use. So I'm going to be a little bit wider on the base. Then I'll have basically 2 uprights, okay, not that high though, about 3 inches high, and 1 on each side. And then I'm going to cut slots in the upright as a guide for my knife to go and cut the soap perfectly 1-inch thickness every time. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to the table saw. Actually, I think I'll square off this edge first, and then I'll remeasure this and recut that. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, now here you see the basic soap form that you're familiar with, and I'm going to have a small block of wood, a short piece on here on the front as a stopper, so when I slide the soap through it'll stop right there, and then I'm going to make some slits in here. So now I have to measure this out where the slits are going to be, and there's a knot there, so let me see that knot. I'm going to turn this around. Okay, and I'm going to measure at 1 inches on each of these on the outside edge. Now you will notice I have taken my ring off while I'm working on with the power tools. You don't want to be working on with power tools with a ring on. So 1 inch and 1 inch. Okay. Now I'm going to want to cut just to the side of each of these notches so that each bar gets exactly 1 inch. We don't want one to be any different from another. The whole idea of this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run these through on the table saw to a certain point to give me the cuts that I need. And then, because I don't have any sort of a jig to cut properly, I'm going to assemble this, and I'm going to continue the cuts. I'm going to cut down almost all the way, and then I can continue with a hand saw leveling off the bottoms of the cuts after I assemble this together. And I'm going to just slightly groove on the bottom of the base plate. So I'll be right back. I'm going to cut these 2 pieces in. What you can see here, what I've done is I've cut this on the table saw relatively deep on one side, and because it's curved, not very deep on the other side. And this essentially gives me a miter box to cut with my back saw. Since I don't have a miter box deep enough to cut this, I now have made my own. So I will cut this down till it's flush and then score the bottom piece just a little bit. So now I'm going to fasten these together, so we'll be right back. Alright, right now what I'm doing is presetting some nails. Okay, now I've got the nails preset for both sides, and the next thing is to add some glue before we nail it on. I got some multi-purpose glue here, wood glue. Okay, a little bit on each side. Don't need it too thick. Okay, now turn it up. Make sure it's all flush this way too, and tap in the nails. Okay, and then the other side. I'm gonna make sure that goes on straight, flush, before I press it in. Okay, there's that. Now, everything looks good. Take my hearing protection off. Now, I'm going to finish my cuts here on the form. I'm left-handed. I have to change my angle here. And just cut that on down. Alright, then your knife can drop in there. I'm going to score it a little bit deeper. That way my knife can drop inside and get a clean cut on the soap. Okay, I'm going to do the next one. Now I just want to score that. Okay. Now I've got 2 slots for cutting the soap through. Okay, now I cut a little piece of wood for the end here, which I'm going to glue and nail into place. And then I can slide my soap bar up to the stopper, make my 2 slices, pull the soap out, slide forward, cut, and so on, and get perfect bars of soap the exact same size every time. By the way, I just cleaned out the cuts better. I recut them, made sure they were clean and smooth cuts, so I can get a true 1-inch cut on this. Now I'm going to nail this into place. I'm going to have to countersink these tiny nails because they are a little bit tiny. Okay guys, there's our soap cutting form. Now I've got a bar of soap waiting to be cut, so we'll take this inside and give it a try. Now the outer edges are a little rough. You could sand this if you want, pretty it up some, but it's going to get dirty with soap residue later on and glycerin and everything else. You have to make sure though that the inside is smooth. Very important that all of this part is smooth. There's no rough edges to catch your soap. Otherwise, if you're dealing with a softer bar of soap, you might mess it up, especially those that are not cured fully yet, which is the one I'm going to cut in a few minutes inside. Okay guys, so I have my soap cutting form inside, all nice and neat and pretty. Alright, and I'm going to give it a try. I've got a bar of soap that's particularly soft on me, so I've got to cut this with the form. I wasn't able to really cut it any other way. Now it slides forward nice. It stops when it hits the bump stopper here in the front. That's all good. I want to make sure that's set in properly. Now I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to run along to the front edge of this because this is precisely 1 inch here to this point here and 1 inch to this point here. So from the edge of here to here is 1 inch. So we've got to keep this knife in straight and run it on down the soap bar, keeping that pushed against the front of the frame all the way down. Okay, you can see it cut through. And this soap is sticky, so I won't be able to demonstrate 2 cuts at a time. With a thicker bar of soap, oh, that smells good. With a thicker bar of soap though, or a drier bar of soap, you'll get a less stickiness on there. Oh, that smells good. That's the herb soap that I made with real herbs from my herb garden. Slide this forward, alright, and again, same thing. Hold the blade forward against the form and push on down all the way through. Now I'm demonstrating on camera, so I'm taking my time. Alright, there's that. Now, it's sticky, so obviously I can only do one at a time. But look at that. clean, beautiful cuts. Look at that bar of soap. Nice clean cut. And guaranteed to be 1 inch thick every time. Push that forward, keeping against the side rail. As long as I keep it lined up on this side rail, alright, and push it up to the front edge of this guard here, then I've got my 1 inch bar every single time. Isn't that cool? Now, of course, when I'm not on camera, I'll just be sliding away, and when I have a firmer bar of soap, this will go smoother. But I'm just demonstrating on camera and cutting a bar that was giving me some trouble. Look at that. Beautiful bar of soap. 1 inch every time. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project, and we've got a soap cutting form. Perfect 1 inch thick bars every single time, and it's wide enough to take different size loaves. Oh, by the way, check out my soap making series. I'll put the playlist link down below, and check out all my articles with cool ideas, recipes, and tips and tricks. Alright guys, talk to you later.